I'll never forget the moment my whole world turned upside down at Thanksgiving dinner. My 8-year-old grandson Caleb looked up at me with those big brown eyes, a piece of sweet potato pie on his fork, and said the words that changed everything. "Grandma Lorraine, are you enjoying the beach house I made Daddy give you?" He smiled so proud, so innocent. "I told him you needed somewhere nice to live. Love you, Grandma." The dining room went silent. I could hear the gospel music playing softly from the kitchen radio. I set down my fork slowly, looked at that precious child, and replied with the calmest voice I could manage. "What house, sweetheart? I live in a rental apartment." That's when my daughter-in-law, Vanessa, choked on her collard greens. I mean, really choked. Her face turned red, then purple. My son Darnell jumped up to pat her back, but his eyes were locked on mine, confused, angry, scared. "Mama, what do you mean rental?" Darnell's voice cracked. "I bought you that beach house in Charleston, signed all the papers 6 months ago, wrote the check for $250,000. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. $250,000. That was almost everything I had left after my husband Bernard passed. Money we'd saved for 40 years. Money from his life insurance. Money that was supposed to keep me comfortable in my old age. "Baby," I said, keeping my voice steady even though I was shaking inside, "I don't know nothing about no beach house. I've been living in that same 2-bedroom apartment on Westwood Avenue for the past year, paying $900 a month in rent." Vanessa finally stopped choking. She grabbed her water glass with trembling hands. "She's confused, Darnell. You know how elderly people get mixed up sometimes." Oh, she wanted to play that game. Paint me as some senile old woman. "I'm 68 years old, Vanessa, not 98, and my mind is sharp as it ever was." I turned to my son. "Darnell Christopher Brooks, you better tell me what's going on right now." Before we continue, please tell us where you're watching from so we know how far our stories reach, and subscribe to the channel to help us grow. Let me take you back to where this nightmare really started. About 2 years ago, right after my Bernard died. My husband and I had a good life. Not rich, but comfortable. Bernard worked 35 years at the post office. I was a school teacher for 40 years at Lincoln Elementary. We owned our home in a nice neighborhood in Columbia, South Carolina, paid it off in 2010. We had savings. We had Bernard's pension and life insurance. We had plans. Then Bernard had a heart attack while working in our garden. He was 69 years old, gone in an instant. I was lost, completely lost. We'd been married for 47 years. He was my everything. The grief was so heavy I could barely breathe some days. That's when Vanessa started coming around more often. Now, let me be clear. I never had nothing against Vanessa when Darnell first brought her home 5 years ago. She was beautiful, well-spoken, always dressed nice, worked as a real estate agent, came from a good family over in Charlotte. They had a big church wedding, and I was happy for my son. But after Bernard died, something changed. Vanessa got real interested in my business. Too interested. "Mama Lorraine," she'd say, sitting in my kitchen with her designer handbag on the table, "you really shouldn't be living in this big old house all alone. It's too much for you to maintain." At first, I thought she was being caring, concerned. "And that neighborhood is changing," she continued. "Property values going down. You should sell while you can still get something good for it." Orchestrated character manipulation arc and engineered dramatic cliffhanger conclusion. Good. I'm building the backstory. Let me continue developing how Vanessa manipulated the situation, leading to the theft of Lorraine's money. I need to build suspense and end this chapter on a cliffhanger. Darnell echoed everything she said. My son, my only child. The boy I raised to be honest and strong started treating me like I couldn't make my own decisions. "Mama, Vanessa's right. You need something smaller, easier to manage. Maybe a nice apartment or condo." I resisted at first. That house held 40 years of memories. Every room had a story. but they kept pushing, and I was so tired, so sad, so alone. Finally, I agreed to sell the house. We got $300,000 for it. After paying off some small debts and funeral expenses, I had about $280,000 left. I put it in my savings account and moved into a rental apartment, a nice little 2-bedroom place near the church I'd attended for 30 years, First Baptist on Martin Luther King Boulevard. My church family had been my rock during Bernard's passing. That's when Vanessa really started working on me. "You know, Mama Lorraine," she said one Sunday after church, "you really should invest that money, make it grow. Can't just let it sit in a savings account earning nothing." "I'm doing fine," I told her. "I got my teacher's pension, Bernard's Social Security. I don't need much." But she wouldn't let it go. Every visit, every phone call, Darnell too. "Mama, let me help you invest it properly. I know a good financial advisor. You could buy rental property, generate income. What about buying a vacation home, somewhere nice? You could rent it out when you're not using it, build equity." On and on and on. They wore me down like water on a stone. Then one day, about 7 months ago, Vanessa came to my apartment with a big smile and a folder full of papers. "Mama Lorraine, I found the perfect opportunity for you. A beautiful beach house in Charleston, 2 bedrooms, oceanfront view. It's a foreclosure, so the price is amazing. Only $250,000. It's worth at least $400,000 easy." I looked at the pictures. It was beautiful. White siding, blue shutters, a porch overlooking the ocean. "Vanessa, I don't need a beach house." "But think about it. You could vacation there. The grandkids would love it. And you could rent it out the rest of the time. Make extra income. Build wealth to pass down to Caleb and Zara." She knew exactly what strings to pull. My grandchildren. I loved those babies more than life itself. "Plus," she added, leaning in close, "I'll handle everything. All the rental management, the bookings, the maintenance. You won't have to lift a finger. Just sit back and collect the checks." I was hesitant. But Darnell backed her up. "Mama, this is a good investment. Trust us. We're looking out for your future." So I agreed. God forgive me, I agreed. Vanessa said she'd handle all the paperwork since she was in real estate. All I had to do was sign some documents and transfer the money. She brought papers to my apartment. Lots of papers. I'm ashamed to say I didn't read them all carefully. My eyes aren't what they used to be, and the print was so small. She kept saying, "Sign here, initial here, date here." I trusted her. I trusted my son. I transferred $250,000 to an account Vanessa said was the escrow account for the closing. She said the closing would happen in a few weeks, then I'd get the keys and the deed. Weeks passed. I asked about the house. "Still going through the closing process, Mama Lorraine. You know how slow these things can be. Lawyers, inspections, all that red tape." More weeks passed. I asked again. "Almost done. Should have everything finalized next week." But next week never came. Every time I asked, there was a new excuse, new delay, new complication. After 3 months, I got suspicious. I asked to see the documents again. Vanessa said they were at her office. I asked for the address of the property. She gave me one but said I shouldn't visit yet because there was construction happening. I called a few times, but Vanessa and Darnell stopped coming around as much. When they did visit, they rushed in and rushed out, always busy, always in a hurry. Eventually, I stopped asking. What could I do? The money was gone. I told myself maybe the house was real and they'd tell me when it was ready. I tried to have faith. Then came Thanksgiving. Now here we were, sitting at Vanessa's dining room table, and my grandson had just blown the whole thing wide open with his innocent comment. Darnell stood up so fast his chair fell backward. "Vanessa, get me the file. The file for Mama's beach house, right now." Vanessa's face was pale. "Baby, calm down. Your mama is just confused." "I said get me the file!" I'd never heard my son yell like that. Caleb started crying. Little Zara, only 6 years old, ran to hide behind my chair. Vanessa left the room. We could hear her upstairs, opening and closing drawers. She was up there a long time. Too long. When she came back down, she didn't have a file. She had her car keys. I need to run to the office. The documents are there. I'll be right back. It's Thanksgiving, Darnell said, his voice deadly quiet. Your office is closed. I have a key. Sit down, Vanessa. She sat. Her hands were shaking. Where is my mother's money? It's in the beach house, I told you. What's the address? I asked. My voice surprised even me. It was strong, clear. What's the address of this beach house? Vanessa's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. Darnell pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. No! Vanessa lunged for his phone. Please, Darnell, just let me explain. Explain what? That you stole from my mother? That you stole her life savings? The room started spinning. I gripped the edge of the table. $250,000, gone. Stolen by my own daughter-in-law while my son watched and helped. Darnell, I said softly. Did you know? He looked at me with tears in his eyes. No, Mama. I swear to God. I thought I was helping you. I signed the papers she gave me. I thought we were securing your future. You signed papers too? She said we were co-signing on the mortgage to help you qualify. She showed me documents, closing statements. I saw everything. Then where's the house? Vanessa started crying. Big, dramatic sobs. I can explain everything. I was going to tell you. I just needed more time. Time for what? Darnell's voice was ice cold. She looked up, mascara running down her face. The deal fell through. The beach house deal. But I'd already taken the money and I used some of it. Used it for what? Silence. Vanessa used it for what? My business. My real estate business was struggling. I had debts. I was about to lose everything. I just borrowed the money temporarily. I was going to pay it back. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. This woman had stolen my life savings to save her failing business. And she'd made my son complicit in the whole thing. How much is left? Darnell asked. Vanessa wouldn't look at him. How much is left, Vanessa? About 30,000. The room went completely silent except for little Zara's whimpering behind my chair. Darnell looked at his wife like he was seeing her for the first time. You spent $220,000 of my mother's money on your business? In 6 months? I was going to pay it back. I have deals in the pipeline. Big deals. I just needed to keep things afloat until they closed. Get out. Darnell! Get out of this house right now. Go to your mother's. Go to a hotel. I don't care. But get out. Vanessa stood up slowly. She looked at me, and for a moment I saw something in her eyes. Not remorse, not guilt. Calculation. She was already planning her next move. Fine. But Darnell, remember this. I'm your wife, mother of your children, and legally, half of everything you own is mine. You're going to want to think very carefully about what you do next. She grabbed her purse and walked out. The front door slammed. I sat there numb. My grandchildren were crying. My son was pacing like a caged animal. And I'd just lost everything I'd worked for my entire life. Darnell knelt down in front of me and took my hands. Mama, I am so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believe you, baby. And I did. I could see the shock and betrayal in his eyes. He'd been fooled just like me. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to get your money back. How, Darnell? She spent it. Then I'll pay you back myself. I'll sell this house. I'll take out loans. I'll work 3 jobs, whatever it takes. I touched his face. You got 2 babies to raise. You can't take on that kind of debt. Then we'll sue her. We'll prosecute her. She'll go to jail for this. She's the mother of your children. She's a thief who stole from my mama. I didn't know what to say. I just sat there while my son cried, and my grandchildren clung to us both. Later that night, after Darnell drove me home to my little rental apartment, I sat alone in the dark. I thought about calling my sister in Atlanta. I thought about calling my pastor. But I was too ashamed, too embarrassed. I'd been a schoolteacher for 40 years. I'd taught children to be smart, to think critically, to question things. And here I'd been played for a fool by a woman who smiled in my face while robbing me blind. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat and thought. By morning, something had changed inside me. The sadness was still there, but underneath it was something else, something harder, something angry. Vanessa thought she could steal from me and get away with it because I was old, because I was grieving, because I trusted my family. She was about to learn that Lorraine May Brooks wasn't finished yet. I picked up my phone and called someone I never thought I'd need. A lawyer. But not just any lawyer. The same lawyer who had gone to First Baptist for 30 years. The same lawyer who'd helped families in our community fight slumlords and predatory lenders. The same lawyer whose daughter I'd taught in 4th grade and helped get into college. Attorney Jacqueline Foster answered on the second ring. "Sister Lorraine, is everything all right?" "No, Jackie. Everything is not all right. I need your help. And I need you to help me fight like you've never fought before." As I told her the story, I heard her typing on her computer. Fast. Furious. When I finished, there was a long pause. Then Jackie said something that sent a chill down my spine. "Sister Lorraine, I need you to think very carefully. When Vanessa had you sign those papers, do you remember signing anything that had Darnell's name on it? Anything about his house? His business?" I thought back. Maybe. I don't know. There were so many papers. Because if she had you sign anything that put Darnell's assets at risk, or if she forged your signature on any documents, this is bigger than just theft. This could be fraud. Identity theft. Multiple felonies. My hands started shaking. How much bigger? Big enough that she could be looking at serious prison time, and big enough that we might be able to freeze her assets, recover every penny, and make sure she never practices real estate again. I should have felt victorious, but all I felt was sad. Sad for my grandchildren who might lose their mother. Sad for my son who'd have to raise them alone. Sad that it had come to this. "Sister Lorraine, are you sure you want to do this? Once we start, there's no going back. This will tear your family apart." I thought about Caleb's innocent face asking about the beach house. I thought about little Zara crying. I thought about all the other elderly people Vanessa might scam if she got away with this. My family is already torn apart, Jackie. Vanessa made sure of that when she decided to steal from me. Let's do this. All right, then. Come to my office first thing Monday morning. Bring any documents you have. Bank statements, emails, text messages, everything. And Sister Lorraine, don't tell anyone what we're planning. Not even Darnell. Not yet. I hung up and looked around my little rental apartment. At 68 years old, I was starting over with almost nothing. But I wasn't giving up. This was war. And Vanessa had just made the biggest mistake of her life. She'd underestimated what happens when you push an old black woman too far. She'd forgotten that the same women who survived Jim Crow, who marched for civil rights, who raised families on nothing and built communities with their bare hands, we don't break. We bend. We adapt. We survive. And when it's time to fight, we fight to win. Monday morning couldn't come fast enough. Monday morning, I walked into Jackie Foster's law office at 9 o'clock sharp. I'd spent the whole weekend gathering documents, bank statements, emails, text messages, every piece of paper Vanessa had ever given me. Jackie's office was in a building on Main Street, right next to the barber shop where Bernard used to get his hair cut. Walking past it made my heart ache. "Sister Lorraine, come in." Jackie hugged me tight. She was 52, elegant, with silver streaks in her natural hair. "Sit down. Let's see what we're working with." I spread everything out on her desk. Jackie put on her reading glasses and started going through the papers one by one. I watched her face change from concerned to shocked to downright angry. "Oh no," she whispered. "Oh, Sister Lorraine, no." "What? What is it?" She held up one of the documents. "This paper you signed? It's not for a beach house purchase. It's a quitclaim deed." "A what?" "A quitclaim deed. It signs over property rights. And look at the address." I squinted at the tiny print. My blood ran cold. It was Darnell's address. His house. "I don't understand." Jackie pulled out another document. "And this one? It's not a mortgage application. It's a lien against Darnell's business. He owns a small construction company, right?" "Yes. Brooks & Sons Construction. Been running it for 12 years. Well, according to this document that has your signature on it, you authorized a $200,000 lien against his business." The room started spinning. "But I didn't. I would never—" "I know you wouldn't, but Vanessa made it look like you did. She was systematically trying to take control of every asset in your family. The beach house story was just a cover." I couldn't breathe. "Does Darnell know?" "I don't think so. These kinds of documents often don't show up right away, but they're legal landmines. If Vanessa had continued with her plan, she could have forced the sale of Darnell's house and seized his business assets." "Why? Why would she do this?" Jackie leaned back in her chair. "I did some digging over the weekend. Called in some favors. Vanessa's real estate business isn't just struggling, it's drowning. She owes over $400,000 to various creditors. She's being sued by 3 different people. And get this, she's already been investigated once for real estate fraud in Charlotte before she moved here." "What?" "It was 5 years ago, right before she met Darnell. The case was dropped because the victim didn't want to pursue it. But the pattern is there. She targets people, gains their trust, then bleeds them dry." I thought about my son, my hard-working, trusting son. She targeted my whole family. Yes, and she would have gotten away with it if Caleb hadn't mentioned that beach house at Thanksgiving. We sat in silence for a moment. Outside, I could hear traffic on Main Street. Normal people going about their normal days. My life felt anything but normal. "What do we do now?" I asked. "Now we fight back. First, I'm going to file paperwork to invalidate these documents. We'll argue fraud and elder exploitation. Second, I'm contacting the district attorney. What Vanessa did isn't just civil fraud, it's criminal. Third, we need to warn Darnell immediately. She still has access to his accounts and his business. She could do more damage." "Should I call him?" "Let me do it. Lawyer to potential victim. It'll carry more weight." Jackie picked up her phone. "Sister Lorraine, I need you to understand something. This is going to get ugly. Vanessa will fight. She'll lie. She might even try to turn Darnell against you." "He won't believe her. Not after Thanksgiving." Jackie gave me a sad smile. "I hope you're right. But desperate people do desperate things." She was more right than she knew. Jackie called Darnell and asked him to come to the office. He arrived 30 minutes later, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His eyes were red, his clothes were wrinkled. "Mama," he hugged me. "I've been trying to call you all weekend." "I know, baby." I needed some time to think. Jackie didn't waste time with pleasantries. She laid out everything: the fake documents, the lien against his business, the quitclaim deed on his house. With each revelation, I watched my son's face harden. "She tried to take my house?" His voice was barely a whisper. "The house where my children sleep?" "Yes," Jackie said. "And your business. Everything." Darnell stood up and walked to the window. His shoulders were shaking. When he turned around, there were tears streaming down his face. "I brought that woman into our family. I married her. I had children with her. And she was planning to destroy us the whole time. You didn't know, son. I should have known." He slammed his fist on Jackie's desk. "All the signs were there. The way she was always asking about your finances, Mama. How she isolated you after Daddy died. How she pushed and pushed until you sold the house. I should have seen it." Darnell, Jackie said firmly, you can beat yourself up later. Right now, we need to act. Do you have any joint accounts with Vanessa? Yes. Checking and savings. And she has access to my business account. I added her 2 years ago so she could help with bookkeeping. Jackie's face went pale. Check those accounts. Right now. Darnell pulled out his phone. He logged into his banking app. I watched the color drain from his face. No. What is it? The business account. It had $80,000 in it Friday afternoon. Contract payments for jobs we just completed. His hands were trembling. It's empty. She cleaned it out. Jackie was already typing on her computer. When? Saturday morning. Multiple wire transfers to accounts I don't recognize. She knew, I said softly. She knew we'd figure it out after Thanksgiving, so she took what she could and ran. Jackie was on the phone with someone. Yes, this is Attorney Jacqueline Foster. I need to speak with Detective Morris in the Fraud Division. It's urgent. The next few hours were a blur. Police came to the office. Darnell filed a report. I filed a report. They asked us questions, took copies of documents, made phone calls. Detective Raymond Morris was a tall black man in his 40s with kind eyes and a serious demeanor. He'd been on the force for 20 years. Mrs. Brooks, Mr. Brooks, I'm going to be straight with you. Cases like this are complicated. Vanessa is your daughter-in-law. Some of these accounts were joint. She might argue she had a right to access the money. She forged my mama's signature, Darnell said. She committed fraud. I believe you, and we're going to investigate thoroughly, but I need you to prepare yourselves. This could take months, maybe longer, and there's no guarantee we'll recover the money. What about arresting her? I asked. We need to build a solid case first. Right now, we don't even know where she is. What do you mean? Darnell pulled out his phone. I'll call her right now. He dialed. We all listened as it went straight to voicemail. He tried 3 more times. Same thing. She turned off her phone, he said, or changed her number. What about the kids? I asked. Where are Caleb and Zara? Darnell's face went white. Oh God, the kids. He called his neighbor. No answer. He called Vanessa's mother in Charlotte. A woman answered on the 3rd ring. Patricia, it's Darnell. Are the kids with you? I couldn't hear the response, but I saw relief flood my son's face. Thank God. Yes, I'll come get them tonight. No, everything is not fine. I'll explain when I get there. Just keep them safe, please. He hung up. Vanessa dropped them off at her mother's house Sunday afternoon. Told her mother she and I were taking a romantic trip to work on our marriage. She planned this, Jackie said. She got the kids to safety, cleaned out the accounts, and disappeared. Detective Morris was writing everything down. Do you have any idea where she might go? No. Darnell sank into a chair. I realize now I never really knew her at all. The detective left, promising to put out an alert for Vanessa. Jackie started working on emergency motions to freeze any accounts we knew about, and I sat there wondering how my life had become a crime drama. That evening, Darnell went to Charlotte to pick up the kids. I went back to my apartment. The church ladies had been calling all day. News travels fast in a black community. Sister Gloria, Sister Ruth, and Sister Diane showed up at my door with enough food to feed an army. Sister Lorraine, we heard what happened, Sister Gloria said, pulling me into a hug. That girl had us all fooled. Sitting up in church every Sunday, smiling and praising, Sister Ruth added. And all the while she was a wolf in sheep's clothing. They sat with me. Let me cry. Let me rant. Let me grieve. This is what church family does. They show up. Sister Diane, who was 82 and had seen everything in her long life, held my hand and said, Baby, the Lord don't like ugly. And what that girl did? That's ugly. But you watch. God gon' work this out. Might not be on your timeline, but justice is coming. I wanted to believe her. But lying in bed that night, I felt so defeated. My life savings were gone. My son's business was crippled. My daughter-in-law was in the wind, and my grandchildren were confused and hurting. The next morning, Tuesday, I went to the church for the weekly Bible study. Pastor Williams pulled me aside before class started. "Sister Lorraine, I heard about your situation. The whole church is praying for you." "Thank you, Pastor. I also wanted you to know we took up a special collection on Sunday for you and Darnell to help with immediate expenses." He handed me an envelope. Inside was $3,000 in cash. "Pastor, I can't." "Yes, you can. This is what the body of Christ does. We take care of our own. You've been blessing this church for 30 years, taught half our children. Let us bless you now." I cried right there in the church hallway. Not tears of sadness, but tears of gratitude. I wasn't alone. I had people. Over the next 2 weeks, things moved fast. Jackie filed multiple lawsuits. The police investigation continued. Darnell hired a forensic accountant to trace where all the money went. What they found was stunning. Vanessa had been running a scheme for over 3 years. Long before she'd targeted me, she'd stolen from clients, forged signatures on real estate documents, created fake investment opportunities, and pocketed the money. She'd scammed at least 7 other people that we knew of, all of them elderly, all of them black. She was a professional predator. The district attorney's office was building a case that could put her away for 20 years. But first, they had to find her. That's when things took another turn. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, Darnell got a text message from an unknown number. "I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone. I was desperate. I have a gambling problem. I need help. Please don't press charges, for the kids' sake." Darnell showed me the message. "It's Vanessa, I'm sure of it. A gambling problem? Is she serious right now?" "The police can probably trace the message. I'm forwarding it to Detective Morris." But before he could, another message came through. "I can pay back some of the money. I still have $40,000. Meet me tomorrow at noon. The Waffle House on Interstate 20. Come alone. Please, Darnell." "I want to make this right." "It's a trap," I said immediately. "Maybe, but what if she really does have some of the money?" "Then let the police handle it." "She'll run if she sees police. Mama, this might be our only chance." Jackie agreed with me when Darnell called her. "Don't go, it's too risky." But Darnell was determined. "I'll go, but I'm wiring myself. The police can listen in. If things go wrong, they can move in." Detective Morris agreed to the plan. Wednesday at noon, Darnell walked into that Waffle House wearing a wire. Police were stationed outside in unmarked cars. Jackie and I waited at her office, listening through a phone connection. We heard Darnell order coffee. We heard the clinking of dishes and the murmur of other conversations. Then we heard a voice I'd hoped to never hear again. "Thank you for coming." Vanessa. "Where's the money?" Darnell's voice was cold. "In my car, but first I need you to listen to me. I'm sick, Darnell. I have a gambling addiction. I've been going to casinos, playing online poker. I lost everything. I couldn't stop. I need help." "You need help? You stole from my mother, from me, from our children's future." "I know, and I'm sorry. But if you press charges, I'll go to prison. Caleb and Zara will lose their mother. Is that what you want?" There was a long pause. I held my breath. "What I want," Darnell said slowly, "is for you to face the consequences of what you've done. Even if it destroys our children, you destroyed our children's security when you stole from us. You destroyed their trust. You destroyed everything. I can make this right. I have $40,000 in my car. Take it, and I'll pay back the rest. I'll get a job. I'll work 3 jobs. Just don't let them arrest me. $40,000 doesn't begin to cover what you took. It's a start. Where's the rest, Vanessa? Silence. Where's the rest of the money? Gone. Gone where? Does it matter? It's gone. This is all I have left. Through the phone, I heard movement, shuffling. Then Vanessa's voice again, but different, harder, meaner. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm not giving you anything. You want to send me to prison? Fine. But remember this. I know things about you, Darnell. About your business. Those jobs you did off the books? The taxes you didn't report? I have receipts. I have proof. You send me down. I'm taking you with me. You're bluffing. Am I? Try me. My son laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. Vanessa, you're so busy trying to blackmail me, you didn't even notice I'm wearing a wire. Every word you just said, the police heard it. Attempted extortion. That's another felony. There was a crash, the sound of a chair falling, running footsteps. She's running, Darnell's voice. Out the back door. Then, chaos. Police sirens, shouting, more running. Jackie and I looked at each other, hearts pounding. Finally, after what felt like forever, we heard Detective Morris's voice. We got her. Suspect in custody. I collapsed back in my chair. Thank you, Jesus. But the relief was short-lived. Because later that evening, when they searched Vanessa's car, they didn't find $40,000. They found $12,000 in cash, and a one-way plane ticket to Mexico, scheduled to depart the next morning. She'd never intended to make things right. She was planning to run. And if Darnell hadn't agreed to meet her, if the police hadn't been there, she would have disappeared forever, with what was left of our money. Vanessa's arrest made the local news. Local real estate agent arrested in elaborate fraud scheme. Her mugshot was everywhere. The woman who'd smiled in church every Sunday, who'd hugged me at family dinners, who'd kissed my grandchildren goodnight. Now she was all over the TV in an orange jumpsuit. Her bail was set at $500,000. She couldn't make it. She sat in county jail while the district attorney built a case that grew bigger every day. Turns out Vanessa had victims all over South Carolina. An elderly man in Charleston who'd lost his entire retirement. A widow in Greenville who'd been scammed out of her late husband's insurance money. A couple in Spartanburg who'd lost their home. The district attorney, a sharp sister named Keisha Bryant, called me 2 days after Vanessa's arrest. Mrs. Brooks, we're building a strong case, but I need to prepare you. This is going to trial. Vanessa rejected our plea deal. What was the deal? 15 years in prison, full restitution to all victims. She turned it down. Said she's innocent. Said you and Darnell are lying to cover up your own financial mistakes. I almost laughed. She's really going to try that? People like Vanessa always think they're smarter than everyone else. She'll learn. The trial was set for February, 3 months away. In the meantime, I had to figure out how to survive. The church collection had helped, but it wasn't enough to live on long term. My pension and Bernard's Social Security covered my rent and basic expenses, but barely. I had medical bills. I needed a new winter coat. My car was making a funny noise. But worse than the financial stress was the emotional toll. I felt violated, humiliated, stupid. How had I not seen through Vanessa's lies? How had I let her get so close? Sister Gloria found me crying in the church parking lot one Sunday after service. Sister Lorraine, you got to stop beating yourself up. That girl was a professional. She fooled all of us. But my own money? Honey, listen to me. I'm 74 years old. You know how many scams I've almost fallen for? That call about my grandson being in jail and needing bail money? Almost sent them $5,000 before my daughter stopped me. These scammers, they know how to push our buttons. They know we love our families. They use that against us. She sat with me in her car and told me story after story of people in our community who'd been scammed. Good people, smart people, people who'd just trusted the wrong person at the wrong time. The shame isn't in being tricked, she said. The shame is on the person doing the tricking. Those words helped. But I still had nightmares. I'd wake up at 3 in the morning, heart pounding, thinking about all the what-ifs. What if Caleb hadn't mentioned the beach house? What if Vanessa had gotten away with it? What if she'd destroyed Darnell's business completely? Darnell was struggling too. His business was crippled without that $80,000. He had workers to pay, materials to buy, projects that needed to be completed. But something beautiful happened. The black business community in Colombia rallied around him. The owner of the lumber yard extended him credit. "Pay me when you can, brother. Family takes care of family." Other contractors sent work his way. "Brooks is good people. We're not letting him go under because his wife turned out to be a snake." Even clients who'd heard about the situation offered to pay their invoices early to help with cash flow. "Your daddy did work on my house 20 years ago," one older gentleman told Darnell. "Fair price, good work, honest man. I know you're cut from the same cloth. We're going to get you through this." Slowly, painfully, Darnell started rebuilding. But the hardest part wasn't the business. It was the kids. Caleb stopped talking for 2 weeks after Vanessa's arrest. He'd just shut down, wouldn't speak to anyone. Zara had nightmares every night. "They think it's their fault," Darnell told me one evening. We were sitting in my apartment, the kids asleep on my couch. "Caleb thinks he got his mama arrested because he mentioned the beach house. Zara thinks if she's really good, the police will let Vanessa come home." My heart broke. "Baby, they need to talk to someone. A counselor. I can't afford—" "There's got to be resources. Let me ask Pastor Williams." The church came through again. Pastor Williams connected us with a Christian counselor who worked on a sliding scale. Sister Beverly, a retired therapist, offered to do play therapy with Zara for free. The church youth director started spending time with Caleb, just being present, letting him process. Slowly, over weeks, the kids started healing. Caleb started talking again. Zara's nightmares became less frequent. They were going to be okay. It would take time, but they were going to be okay. Christmas came. It was quiet. No big family dinner, no expensive presents, just me, Darnell, and the kids at my apartment. We made cookies, watched Christmas movies, read the Nativity story. On Christmas morning, Caleb came and sat on my lap. He was getting big for that, but I held him anyway. "Grandma, I'm sorry I made everything bad." "Baby, no. You didn't make anything bad. You helped us see the truth. You're brave." "But Mama's in jail because of me." "Your Mama's in jail because of choices she made. Adult choices. Nothing you did caused this. You understand me?" He nodded, but I could see he didn't quite believe it yet. That was okay. Healing takes time. January came. The trial was approaching. Keisha Bryant, the district attorney, called me and Darnell in to prepare us for testimony. "Vanessa's lawyer is going to try to make you look bad," she warned. "They'll say you were careless with your money. They'll say Darnell had access to everything and could have stopped it. They'll try to create reasonable doubt." "Let them try," I said. "I know the truth." "The truth doesn't always win in court, Mrs. Brooks. We need to be prepared for anything." Jackie Foster was preparing civil suits to run parallel to the criminal trial. "Even if she goes to prison, we can get judgments against her, garnish any future wages, seize any assets we can find. She'll be paying this back for the rest of her life." The trial started on February 10th. The courthouse was packed. All of Vanessa's victims showed up. The media was there, and sitting in the back, quiet and dignified, were members of First Baptist Church. My people, my support. Vanessa walked in wearing a conservative blue dress, her hair pulled back, minimal makeup. She looked like a Sunday school teacher. She'd lost weight in jail. She looked fragile, vulnerable. But I knew better. Her lawyer was a slick man from Charlotte named Harrison Webb. Expensive suit, perfect teeth, confident swagger. The prosecution went first. Keisha Bryant laid out the case methodically. The fake documents, the wire transfers, the multiple victims, the attempted flight to Mexico. She presented bank records, emails, text messages. She had Darnell testify about how Vanessa had manipulated both of us. When it was my turn on the stand, I was nervous. But then I looked at the jury. 8 black people, 4 white people. Different ages. Different backgrounds, but all of them looking at me with something like understanding. I told my story. Simply, honestly. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't try to make it more dramatic. I just told the truth about a woman who'd exploited my grief and my trust. Harrison Webb tried to shake me on cross-examination. "Mrs. Brooks, isn't it true that you never actually read the documents before signing them?" My eyes aren't what they used to be. I trusted my daughter-in-law to tell me what I was signing. "So you admit you were careless?" "I admit I trusted family. That's not careless. That's human." "Did anyone force you to transfer that money?" "Yes, Vanessa forced me, through lies and manipulation." "But physically, no one held a gun to your head?" "Mr. Webb, there are many ways to steal from someone. Sometimes the weapon is a lie." I saw a few jury members nod. The defense tried to paint Vanessa as a victim of gambling addiction. They brought in an expert who testified about how addiction changes the brain. They had Vanessa cry on the stand, talking about how she'd lost control, how she was sick, how she needed help, not punishment. But Keisha Bryant destroyed that narrative on cross-examination. "Ms. Brooks-Patterson, you claim you have a gambling addiction. When did you first gamble?" "About 4 years ago." "And when did you commit your first fraud?" Vanessa hesitated. "I don't remember exactly." "Let me refresh your memory. 5 years ago, in Charlotte, North Carolina, you were investigated for real estate fraud. That was before you ever gambled. So your addiction didn't cause your crimes, did it?" "You were already a criminal." The courtroom was silent. "And these trips to Mexico you were planning, were you going there to gamble?" "No." "Were you going there to get treatment for your addiction?" "No." "You were going there to escape justice, weren't you?" "I was confused. I was scared." "Answer the question. Were you going to Mexico to escape justice?" Vanessa looked at her lawyer, then at the jury, then at me. For just a second, I saw the mask drop. I saw the real Vanessa. Cold, calculating, angry that she'd been caught. "I want to invoke my Fifth Amendment rights." But it was too late. The jury had seen what I'd seen. The trial lasted 2 weeks. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. 15 counts of fraud. 3 counts of elder exploitation. 2 counts of identity theft. 1 count of attempted extortion. Vanessa didn't cry when the verdict was read. She just sat there, stone-faced. At sentencing 3 weeks later, the judge allowed victims to make impact statements. One by one, we stood up and told our stories. The elderly man from Charleston who'd lost his retirement. He couldn't afford his heart medication anymore. The widow from Greenville who'd lost her home. She was living with her daughter now, sleeping on a couch. The couple from Spartanburg. They'd been planning to leave their house to their children. Now they had nothing. When it was my turn, I stood up and looked directly at Vanessa. "I didn't just lose money," I said. "I lost trust. I lost peace of mind. I lost the legacy my husband and I built together. But worse, you hurt my son. You hurt my grandchildren. You destroyed a family. And for what? For money you gambled away and spent on expensive clothes and jewelry?" I took a breath. "But here's what you didn't take. You didn't take my faith. You didn't take my community. You didn't take my strength. I'm 68 years old, and I'm starting over. It's hard, but I'll make it. Because I'm surrounded by people who love me. What do you have?" Vanessa stared at the table. The judge spoke. "Ms. Brooks-Patterson, you conducted a calculated, sophisticated scheme to defraud vulnerable people. You exploited your position of trust. You showed no remorse until you were caught, and even then your remorse seems to be only for yourself. This court sentences you to 25 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 15 years. You are also ordered to pay full restitution to all victims." 25 years. Vanessa would be 63 when she was eligible for parole, older than I was now. As they led her away, she turned and looked at Darnell one last time. I don't know what she was hoping to see. Forgiveness? Sympathy? But my son's face was stone. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. I didn't want to talk to them, but Keisha Bryant said it was important. Let people see what happened. Let them see justice was served. So I stood there, Darnell on one side and Jackie on the other, and I told the reporters what I wanted other people to know. If you're elderly, if you're grieving, if you're vulnerable, be careful. These scammers are out there. They look normal. They sound trustworthy. They might even be family. Get second opinions. Read everything before you sign it. Ask questions. And if something feels wrong, trust your gut. The story ran on every local news station. It went viral on social media. I got messages from people all over the country thanking me for speaking out. But the best message came from a woman in Florida. Mrs. Brooks, I saw your story. My daughter-in-law has been pressuring me to invest in her business. Something felt wrong, but I felt guilty saying no. After seeing what happened to you, I said no. She got angry and stopped speaking to me. Last week, I found out she's being investigated for fraud in another state. You saved me. Thank you. That message made everything worth it. The civil suits took longer, but eventually we got judgments against Vanessa. The court ordered her to pay full restitution from any money she had left, plus garnishment of any future wages. We'd recovered about $50,000 so far from frozen accounts and seized assets. It wasn't everything, but it was something. More importantly, several of Vanessa's other victims had been made whole through a victim compensation fund and community fundraising. By spring, life was starting to feel normal again, or at least a new kind of normal. Darnell's business was recovering. He'd picked up 3 new contracts. He'd hired back the workers he'd had to let go. Caleb and Zara were doing better. Caleb made the honor roll. Zara started dancing again. They still asked about their mother sometimes, but less and less. And me? I was okay. I'd never have the money back that Vanessa stole. But I had something better. I had clarity. I had strength. I had community. The church family had started a support group for financial fraud victims. I helped lead it. We met every Tuesday evening, sharing stories, sharing resources, helping each other heal. I also started volunteering at a senior center, teaching older folks about financial literacy and how to protect themselves from scams. One day in April, I was sitting on my apartment balcony, drinking sweet tea and watching the sunset, when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Brooks, this is Attorney Jennifer Chen from the Victim Restitution Office. I have good news. We recovered an additional $120,000 from accounts Vanessa had hidden overseas. You're entitled to $60,000 of that. I almost dropped my phone. $60,000? Yes, ma'am. It's not everything you lost, but it's significant. We should have the check to you within 30 days. When I hung up, I just sat there and cried. Happy tears this time. That money meant I could breathe again. I could pay off my medical bills. I could help Darnell. I could start a college fund for Caleb and Zara. I could rebuild. A few weeks later, on Mother's Day, Darnell and the kids took me to brunch at a nice restaurant downtown. Grandma, Caleb said, we have something for you. He handed me a card. Inside was a drawing he'd made. It showed our family, me, Darnell, Caleb, and Zara, standing in front of a house. A real house, not a fake beach house, and written across the top in his careful handwriting. Family is what we have, not what we lost. I held that boy so tight. I love you, Grandma, he whispered. I love you too, baby. All of you. Looking around that table at my son and my grandchildren, I realized something. Vanessa had taken my money. She'd taken my sense of security. She'd taken a lot, but she hadn't taken what mattered most. She hadn't taken my family. She hadn't taken my faith. She hadn't taken my ability to love and trust again. I was 68 years old, starting over with less money than I'd planned. But I wasn't starting over alone. I had my church family. I had my real family. I had a community that had wrapped around me like a warm blanket. And I had myself. Stronger than I'd ever been. Wiser, more careful, but not broken. Vanessa thought she could destroy an old black woman who was grieving and vulnerable. She thought I'd be an easy target. She was wrong. Because the same strength that helped my ancestors survive slavery, that helped them march for civil rights, that helped them build communities from nothing, that strength runs in my blood. And that strength can't be stolen. I survived. I fought back. I won. And now I was going to help others do the same. That evening, back at my apartment, I sat down and wrote a letter. Not to Vanessa, she didn't deserve my words, but to myself. A letter about forgiveness, about letting go, about moving forward. I forgave myself for trusting the wrong person. I forgave myself for not seeing the signs. I forgave myself for being human. And then I made a promise. I promised myself I would never let fear stop me from loving, from trusting, from living. Vanessa had taken enough. She wouldn't take my future too. The next Sunday at church, Pastor Williams asked me to give a testimony. I stood up in front of the congregation, in front of the people who'd carried me through my darkest time, and I told them the whole story. The devil tried to take me out, I said, tried to use grief and loneliness and trust against me. But God said not today. God sent me people, sent me strength, sent me justice. And now I'm standing here, still standing, ready to help the next person who needs it. The church erupted in amens and hallelujahs. Sister Gloria shouted, "That's right! Tell it!" And I did. I told it all. The pain, the betrayal, the fight, the victory. Because my story isn't just about what was taken from me. It's about what couldn't be taken. My dignity, my strength, my spirit. Vanessa thought she could break me. Instead, she revealed just how unbreakable I really am. And that, more than any amount of money, is worth everything. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments. Your voice matters.